Could Kobe Bryant escape Alcatraz? To answer this, we need to break it down into three categories. A, why Kobe is capable. B, what made Alcatraz so impossible to escape? And C, how Kobe could realistically survive it. So first, why is Kobe even capable of this? Because throughout his entire career, Kobe built a reputation for surviving pressure that most players mentally collapsed under.
Ball knocked away, stolen by Parker.
Here it is.
Here comes George to Kobe Bryant. Bryant inside. It's good. It's good. Tie game. Tenths of a second remaining.
And no version represents that better than 2008 to 2010 Kobe. During that stretch, Kobe led the Lakers to 3 straight NBA Finals, while dealing with injuries, constant defensive pressure, exhaustion, and enormous expectations every single night. But stats alone don't explain why he'd fit Alcatraz. Because Kobe's biggest advantage wasn't athleticism alone, it was mentality. The Mamba mentality. And that mindset changes everything in a prison like Alcatraz.
I'm sitting here watching it and I'm like, yo, he's not stopping. He don't look like he want to stop. He still want to get 100 if he can. Like, where does that mentality come from? Where you see most guys 30, 40, and they kind of chill out like, all right, I got this.
Yeah, no, I it's a competition. And my mission is to destroy you. It's not, I mean, like I don't say, like we're playing, I'm not stopping at 30. Like I'm keep going until you figure out something else to do.
See, Alcatraz wasn't designed just to stop people physically. It was designed to break them mentally. The isolation, the routines, the freezing conditions, the guards watching every movement. Most prisoners lost hope before they even attempted escape. But Kobe was different under pressure. The more difficult the situation became, the more locked in he got. And we've seen that throughout his career. Game-winning shots.
Buzzer, banks it in!
Playing through injuries. 48-minute playoff games. Moments where everybody else slowed down while Kobe became more aggressive. There are stories of Kobe practicing at 4 a.m. while other players were still asleep. Stories of teammates arriving at the gym only to realize Kobe had already been there for hours.
So the goal was to be the first one at breakfast. So I set my alarm. I make sure I'm up by sunrise. I get out of bed. I put on my gear and I head downstairs. But when I get there, Kobe's already there with ice packs on his knees, drenched in sweat. Now, it took me a minute to figure it out, but this guy wasn't only awake before me. He had already worked out. He had just played in the finals days earlier.
That level of obsession matters in a place like Alcatraz, because escaping wasn't about getting emotional or panicking. It required discipline over long periods of time, patience, consistency, and complete focus. Now let's move on to Section B. What actually made Alcatraz so difficult to escape? Alcatraz was located on an isolated island surrounded by freezing water and violent currents. Even if prisoners escaped their cells, they still had to survive the swim to shore. And that's where most escape attempts failed. The water temperatures were brutally cold, the currents were unpredictable, and guards constantly monitored the prison. On top of that, timing was everything. One mistake during an escape attempt could immediately end the entire plan. And mentally, the prison exhausted people over time. The constant pressure, routines, and isolation slowly destroyed discipline. And that's important because mentally exhausted people make mistakes. Now on to Section C. How could Kobe realistically change this? The first factor is discipline. Kobe was known for extreme preparation and obsessive routines. Teammates constantly talked about how he practiced longer than everyone else and studied details nobody else noticed. At Alcatraz, that mentality becomes incredibly valuable because successful escape attempts required patience and consistency over long periods of time. Now, the second factor is pressure. Most prisoners panicked under pressure, but throughout Kobe's career, pressure usually made him more focused. And that matters because escaping Alcatraz required calm decision-making during dangerous moments. Then there's endurance. Kobe constantly played through pain and exhaustion during playoff runs. We've seen him stay on the floor through injuries that would have taken most players out of the game completely.
So if you see Kobe writhing in pain, then you know it hurts.
Yeah.
And I put it in. As soon as I did, you could just see that his pain went away. Anybody else would have still been in pain, but he
walked right back on the court.
Yeah, before I could even tape it, because I wanted to tape it, he was already gone. You know.
And escaping Alcatraz would require both physical and mental endurance over time, especially during the swim itself. But probably the biggest factor is mentality. Most people viewed Alcatraz as impossible to escape. Kobe never really believed in impossible situations, and we've seen that throughout his entire career, whether it was impossible shots, impossible playoff performances, or impossible expectations. Kobe consistently attacked situations other people avoided. And psychologically, that's the biggest difference here. Most prisoners saw Alcatraz as the end. Kobe would see it as a challenge. Now, does this guarantee he escapes? No. Alcatraz was still one of the most secure prisons ever built. The odds would still be against him, but when you compare the prison's biggest challenge, mentally breaking people over time, with someone whose entire career was built around obsession, discipline, pressure, and impossible situations, Kobe would absolutely have a realistic chance, and that's why Kobe Bryant could escape Alcatraz.